Welcome to what was going to be my last episode, which is IDK, the inside look into an entertainer's mind, but actually it's my 10th episode. Wow, 10 episodes started from November. That is applause by itself. Come on, I'm clapping right now for myself. Thank you. Pat on the back. It's been a lot, and we'll talk about the next episodes, the next 5 episodes that's actually going to be coming out in the series of this next 2 months, and I'm very excited for that one. I got some really, really talented, special, amazing guests right now, and I can't wait. Let's just start right now, and we'll talk about what the episode's going to be about. Let's start now with Grace Kindl. How you doing, Grace?
I am just fan-freaking-tastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. Introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Grace. Let's see. I do mainly musical theater, and I'm a senior. I'm pursuing a degree in public relations at Kent State University in the fall.
Okay. All right. So our next guest is Elikya. How you doing, Elikya?
I'm so good, Christian. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Elikya, like you just said. I'm 16. I'm a junior in high school. The main theater work that I do is with Theater in Color, which is like kind of theater collective that I started last summer in July. And so far we've read 7 scripts, all by artists of color. And pretty soon we're going to have a new announcement. So keep up with me to find out, maybe get involved with that.
Okay. And what side of entertainment are you trying to do?
Definitely more creative, like performing, maybe even directing work. I don't know. There's so much time. I love it all. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. And our last but certainly not least, Skylar. How you doing, Skylar?
Hi, I'm doing really good. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. So, hi, I'm Skylar. I'm a senior currently. The main side of theater that I usually participate in is musical theater. I'm going to East Carolina University in the fall with a theater arts degree and a PR degree. So I'm really excited.
Woo. All right. So first of all, I want to say thank you everybody for coming. Definitely. I'm so excited. Can't wait to start this topic. Like I said, this episode is called IDK, the inside look into an entertainer's mind. And as you see, we have a different spectrums of the entertaining side, and we'll get to that with the questions that we have. So, like I said, let's get started. So our first question is, how do you want to impact the world? Who has inspired you to impact the world? Let's have Skylar.
Okay, so how I kind of want to impact the world, I just want to be able to create a place where people can feel creative and kind of feel free and can be themselves. I don't know where that would be, whether it's like I'm talking to a customer or if I'm like working in a show. I just want everyone to feel like they can just be themselves, and I think that's the biggest thing, because I struggle with wanting to be myself because I'm like, oh, what if people think this? What if people think that? So just creating that, I feel like, would be really important, and I feel like that could help a lot. And the person that inspired me to impact the world, I would have to say Walt Disney himself. His creativity and his imagination is so inspiring and has pushed me in so many ways to keep going forward and to keep thinking and keep like knowing my surroundings, like dreaming and just reaching for the stars. And I think having that has helped so much.
All right. Grace.
Whew. All right. Well, we were talking before we started recording. I think I said, I don't know if I am necessarily a pessimist. I'm definitely not an optimist. So I think, at least from my perspective, it's hard for me to believe that as like a single individual person, I can make a huge impact on the world, at least like big picture wise. But small picture, I I want to help people be like the best version of themselves that they can be. And that sounds really cheesy, but I mean it in the way that I want to give people every opportunity to change and improve and grow. And I mean, I've been told that I let people walk all over me, but honestly, I would rather somebody have the chance to improve themselves and work on themselves and not turn them away. You know, if someone wants a second chance, I would rather give it to them and put the power to change in their hands than say no and take that power and just shut it down completely. And I think by doing that, that'll make a big impact, big picture wise. But that's something that I can do small picture. You know, I don't feel like I have one person that inspired me to act this way. I think I was raised in an environment that was like, okay, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to screw up every once in a while, and we're going to be here to love you and support you and help you grow and learn from them. So I think that's a big testament to my parents and their parenting style. But I think it's also a part of it is seeing how shutting people down, you know, if you screw up in a friendship or a relationship, watching that or even being a part of that, it's hard. And so that's inspired me to kind of act the opposite way.
Yeah.
So it's just a mix of different things.
Okay. Elikya.
Well, I'll start by saying, and this is so cheesy, but the person that like honestly truly has inspired me like the most in my life and the person that I want to be as good as is my mother.
Okay. Hey, that's not cheesy at all.
I will say all day long that my mom, Bonnie Rhines Mwanda, is one of the best people that I know. She is my assistant principal, and like I see the work that she puts in every day at school, like working towards equity for all students, and just like the things that she teaches me to be passionate about and not back down from my beliefs. Truly, I owe everything all to her. And the same way that she's making a difference in like our school community, I wish to do the same like in whatever theater community I end up in when I grow up. I don't know what it'll be because I have like so many ideas of like what I could do to make a difference. All I know is that I'm big on like, and this is a thing that we actually talked about when we had a reading for Theater in Color. We read The Unplugging, and basically it was a Indigenous playwright wrote the story, and it ended up where like the two Indigenous women in the play had gotten banished from the like society, and they ended up like inviting them back. And so we had a conversation about like reparations and what it means, like liberation versus like equality, stuff like that. And that made me think like in my life, do I want to be brought up to the same level, or do I want to step out of the situation altogether and create something new that I feel like liberated from the other thing altogether? I'm leaning towards the second thing, obviously, because I don't think the goal is to, even if you're running to the same level, the system is still intact, and I think that's kind of productive.
I have to agree with you that one.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I'm trying to process what all y'all has said. With that being said, and how you have the people in your life or peoples in your life that impacts you, and that really tells you to go for something. Why would you see if they said like, because most of them have always said somebody that they struggled and they're like they're starting right with the money, with actually getting jobs. So the question for the second would be, why pursue a career that people say is not stable, economically, mentally stable, physically, emotionally, all those elites stable? So why would we pursue something that's not stable in any shape, in any way, shape, or form? Grace, take this one.
Yeah, so I actually am pursuing something that is stable. PR jobs are supposed to grow 10% in the next couple of years. So,
Yeah.
I will say though that for a long time, I considered pursuing getting a BFA in musical theater and moving to New York and doing the whole thing. And I didn't choose PR because of the stability. That was never something that scared me. Honestly, I use theater as my creative outlet, and I didn't want to get burnt out, and I didn't want to lose that. So I think, at least from my perspective, not being someone who is passionate enough to pursue it as a career, I feel a little selfish sometimes. But I also have to keep in mind that if I did pursue this, I don't think it would have ended well. But I'm getting off topic. I think the stability part, people pursue that because it's something that they truly love. And even if you don't pursue it, you can still love it.
Right.
It's just not something that scares them because they love it so much. I feel like I'm not verbalizing this well. Somebody else take the wheel here.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like I could speak to that because I am someone who, like, don't care. I'm so tunnel visioned to the point where my peripheral is still theater. I'm honed in on theater, and everything else outside of that is still theater. But it just, I don't know. It just feels like something that, like, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I was talking to my grandpa about this. Like, I guess that I really am lucky to have found my, like, true passion. I will honestly say theater makes my heart beat.
Yeah.
But I can't. And I honestly feel bad for people that have to choose something like stability over, you know, and maybe it's because they haven't found anything, like they don't know anything else.
I think there's a difference between choosing something stable because you're afraid of the instability versus choosing something stable because you don't want to lose this thing that you love.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah. And I mean, within theater, I learned this like this year, but it's not just performing.
Right.
And there's so much more within it. And what I want to do with theater is, and I promise this will make sense with the question, but like, to me, I've discovered that the reason why I love theater so much is because it's not just about performing. Like, it's also about what I am doing and how the audience feels about it and what I can get them to do because of what they saw. And I think that is important work because art is the foundation of society.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I completely agree. I'm fascinated by the inner workings of theater too. Like, aside from just acting or being on stage, I think, and you think about the inner workings, you immediately go like techies, okay, but then you also have directing, and you have the people who are like financially running these theaters, and I think that's something really interesting. Skylar, were you gonna say something?
No, I mean, like, going off of that, I mean, when I was younger, it was just acting, and that was it. Like, it was either acting or tech, like, that's all I could see. But as I've gotten older, I started to realize, like, there's so much more to theater that, because I think I've always felt like it was just that, and that was it. And recently I discovered I love directing. Like, I would never have thought that I would have liked that because I was so stuck on, it just has to be acting. Like, it just has to be musical theater. Like, that's it. And I think what's so special about theater is because it's not just that. And going off what you guys said, like, there's so much more to it. And I think that, like, going into, like, kind of the question of why, like, pursuing this is because there's so many options. Like,
Absolutely.
it's not just like as like acting and tech. There's so much more. Like PR is a huge aspect of theater, and it all intertwines, and like you can't not have theater, because I feel like it exists everywhere. Because like our teachers always say, oh yeah, these skills will help you in the real world, and they do. Like, and I've noticed it so much. Like, I'm able to present myself a bit more in like interviews and when I'm trying to get a job or when I'm doing a presentation, because I cannot stand in front of like 20 classmates and try to give a school presentation. But like, as I've grown in theater, I've been able to be like, I'm just performing a show. That's all I'm doing.
I'm trying to get these people to think this way, and this is how I'm going to do it. I like what you said about making a change, getting the audience to think this thing. You know, my words are just not here tonight. But
I feel they're here. I feel them.
Yeah, I feel them too. Okay. All right. Oh, but oh my God. I'm so excited.
You passed it on to Christian.
I'm sorry.
You're crying.
Okay. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to take the audio because how y'all did it, how y'all kept going with it. Okay. Love the energy. Keep going. But for me, theater is, I will say theater is definitely the root of anything. When it comes to me, I'm not, I do for sure want to get VFA in musical theater. I want to double major musical theater and choreography. That's my goal. But there's this thing also that I also want to be. I want to do musical theater, but do I want to live in New York? No, not really. But I want to live in LA, but because I want to do like what Michael Jackson did, what Rihanna, SZA. I can name a lot of people. I want to perform. I want to be the next pop, R&B, whatever, international superstar that really goes up to people and be like, here's my song. And not because, oh, I can sing, but because when you listen to the music that I'm and the words that's coming out of my mouth and the notes, you feel like you actually belong to something. I have a song that's literally called, I wrote 5 new songs, and the songs are The Queen and Her Son, about my mom. The impact that my mom has did, The King and His Apprentice, about my dad, to show that just because you have all this stuff, I have another song that's literally called Trust Issues, because I want to show that nobody is perfect and everybody's going to have something to go through that. And I like, that's why before we started this, I shared my story with Elikya and Skylar and Grace, because I want to be so open with everything, because you never know who's actually connected with that. You could think you're the only person that thinks about this, the only person that that looks this way or go this way, but then we actually talk to just different people all around, you be like, people are similar.
And I think getting a background in theater, it's like when you do dance, you get that background in ballet, so that's your foundation for the rest of dance. Theater is your background. Your musical theater is your background, your foundation for the rest of this. You're gonna be in a better place to make people feel these things and truly make an impact if you get that foundation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm gonna start crying. I'm sorry. Okay. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. So during this pandemic, as we all know, Broadway was closed. If you watch TV, movies, sets, everything was shut down. Reruns came on. I'm sorry, things got a little boring. I cannot be watching Grownish for the 50 millionth time for that one episode that came on before quarantine happened.
Right.
But like Grownish is good. Don't get me wrong. Like Euphoria is still good. I did watch
me with New Girl.
Yeah, New Girl. So anyway, but with all that being said, how did you stay creative during the pandemic? And with that, after you say that, do you feel that the entertainment industry will be going down or up after the crisis is over? Elikya, take this one.
Sorry. I I mean, obviously, we have nowhere else to go but up right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, we got in a hole, but either you dig down further, but then you make it out this other. Oh, okay. What was that? So
I had a song in my head. You gotta dig a little deeper. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
Anyways, I was talking about this with someone else that was like, what's really making me mad is people for some reason don't have any faith in theater. What is that?
Repeat that. Repeat.
I'll say it again for the people in the back.
Yes,
people don't have any faith in theater, and it makes me so mad.
Thank you.
No faith in theater. No faith in. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of like the whole TikTok musical thing going on, but the amount of tickets that were sold for Ratusical, they raised like millions of dollars. It went to the Actors Fund, which is great. Support your local artists, please. Venmo Elikya Mwanda, if you want to be generous. But I don't know. For me personally, it brought me more to my creative side, and it opened me up to the possibility of like Grace said earlier. Sorry, not Grace. Skylar. What? Skylar said that she got interested in directing, and so did I, because I wasn't able to like do theater. It was all happening up here in my head, and then I was like, how about I explore that more? And I'm hoping that once we come out of this, I'll be able to, everyone, it always finds a way to manifest itself, but
definitely.
I think what you said about people essentially underestimating theater is so far from, I mean, what you said is correct. People underestimating it is so far from the truth, because we work so hard. If this pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we work twice as hard as anyone else, I feel like.
Right.
Again, with that musical, that is insane that people did that.
Yeah.
And I think we've taken this time to hone other skills outside of our comfort zone. And so I think when we come back, we're going to come back stronger than ever, because we haven't just been sitting out. We have.
Oh, no.
We've been researching and working. I mean, I'm still doing my voice lessons. At the beginning, I was doing them virtually. Once it got safer, I was doing them in person, but with, safety guidelines. But we're still working. We're finding ways around it. And I think, especially having technology, as much as online stuff sucks, it does. I've been trying to make the best of it, and I'm glad that we have it. And I think it's allowed us to continue to do stuff that we wouldn't have been able to do 20 years ago. Even 10 years ago, So I think that this time, while it has been awful, and it's awful that people are losing jobs and, struggling to put food on the table, I think once we come back, and Broadway's supposed to open back up in the fall, fingers crossed.
Yes.
I think it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like magical.
Literally. Well, Skylar.
Yeah, for like exactly what you both have said. Like, the world, I don't think could really survive like without theater. Like, I don't like.
I mean, has it?
No.
Because like theater is literally everywhere. People, especially in this time, people need somewhere to go, and that's theater. I mean, you look like movies and TV shows, and like it doesn't have to just be like on the stage. And I think like that's what's also going to push it more than ever to go up, because people need that outlet, because we haven't gotten as much stuff produced, especially in a pandemic, because people are like, how do we direct a show with all the safety precautions? How do we do a movie with all, like, if someone unfortunately got COVID, then you have to like shut down production, and it's just
Right.
like navigating through that. But I just feel like once it starts coming back, it's going to come back stronger than ever. And like
Mhm.
I saw a post one time, and it was like at the start of the pandemic and things were like slowly shutting down, and it really sucked. Was about how the Broadway actors, they've pretty much gotten like a good vocal rest in a sense. Like
Yeah.
they're not like damaging their voice, like because they would be doing shows like 8 times a week and belting those beautiful notes, but it could show some vocal damage. But then I feel like with this break, like they got to still like work on it, but then it's just gonna come back and it's just gonna be like, oh my gosh, like
On
it's
the
gonna
other
be
side, I do worry about the people who haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And I think
Mm.
going back to it, not having done anything,
Mhm.
that's going to be terrifying to see.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to
Yeah.
damage your vocal cords, honestly. So, as
Well, you know what, Grace? I feel like the person who hasn't been taking this time to like work on their craft isn't the person that's going to come back. at
you're
all.
right.
Yeah.
You are
I
100%.
Because think about, like, I know a bunch of people, or I'm lying. What I'm going to talk about instead, there's I don't know if y'all know the Ensemblists. They have like a podcast. And,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So they did like a poll of, I don't know, some number of Broadway actors in the city, New York City,
Mhm.
and of people who had like left the industry, had left previously, had, changed directions. And it's like pretty split. The people that, which makes me sad that, but it seems like it's the older, like more established people in the industry that,
From what I heard too, I feel
Mhm.
like they didn't feel like, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of bittersweetness, but I think
Right.
they ultimately decided this is the right decision for me to make. And I think that
True.
opens doors for more people who,
on the come up.
on the come up.
Yeah.
It is their like real passion, and it's going to make them happy. And maybe it did make the others happy at one point, but I think, stepping back and saying, okay, I need to take a different direction, it's going to open doors for more people. And it's overall going to increase the quality of the work that we get to watch and be a part of.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to see it'll almost be like it's renewed. We just like refresh the page, and now it's like, okay, the quality is clearer. I don't know.
And I mean, I think like kind of working off of that, playing into more of the scary part, because there is like at our school, we don't have as many like people who have been trained as long in theater as a lot of us have, because they didn't get it this year. Like a lot of freshmen were like, what's theater? And a lot of freshmen get their interest from theater.
Right.
And that's the only thing I really worry about is I think we have enough on the top, like kind of tier, like that will come back swinging. But then I worry about the ones that don't know as much or are still learning, like especially like if anyone's learning for the first time about theater, maybe they got a little bit into it, maybe they did a show, but then they haven't gotten the resources to continue it. And I applaud
resources.
all the
Literally, yeah.
Especially sorry, Skylar.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, like, I really applaud a lot of the theater teachers who have worked, and vocal coaches, and everyone who has worked to train these newer individuals to like finally enter and see the beauty of it. And that's why I'm so excited for its return, because those kids will finally see what theater actually is, and hopefully get inspired to like push it forward and continue on.
And Grace, I know you got to leave, so go ahead and give me your last remarks.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my last little bit. I think you brought up a really interesting point with the resources. I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer, but we were already scarce on our resources prior to the pandemic. And so I think it's going to be really hard coming out of this not for Broadway. And I mean, I don't know about college level programs, but at least definitely for high school and middle school programs, it's going to be hard. I feel like they were already starting to take funding away. Yeah. And with all this going on, they have no reason to give us any funding. And who knows if it'll come back after the pandemic. And so that's going to be something that, you know, we're going to have to think about and work around. And not that I don't think we can handle it, because I think if anyone can figure that out, it would be us, because we've been dealing with this for God knows how long, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
But that's just another element that'll be hard to adjust.
Yeah. And no, like definitely it does suck, I think, from a standpoint, especially in high school theater, is when we don't have that funding, when we don't have those resources. I think it does suck. I don't mean to say this as like a bad thing, but when I work very close to my school, and I see a lot of sports people playing, which they need the training, which, like my brother, he plays hockey. He has to have that training to continue. But then it hurts in a sense of being a theater kid, because you're like, why can't we be back on stage doing what we need to do, because we're trying to train as well. And I think that like also brings back into the stability, because I feel like not many people will give us that chance. Of course, we always push past it and come better than ever, but it does, especially in this pandemic. I think we're like kids that are very young discovering theater, and us, I think, need it the most, because we need that training, because we're trying to enter the whole deal as it is. And I think having a lack of that training, even though we're still trying at home in any way, shape, or form, it does suck, because we need it. We need that chance to work on our skills, because we can only do so much virtually, you know?
And I think that speaks to our resilience, though. I think it sucks, like you said, but the fact that we're continuing to push and we're finding new ways to do things despite not being given as many resources as people in sports or something, that speaks to our passion and our resilience, because we are continuing to work.
Right.
And honestly, not to dig on sports, I think they're just as important, honestly. That's other people's passions, and I don't want to put any, bad karma out there, but I don't know that they would be able to figure out how to do what they need to do the way that we have. And I think that is because we have always had to kind of improvise. I mean, that's one of the first things you're taught when you get into theater, right? And so we've always had to, honestly, you just get and you're like, okay, this is theater, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's important, because that's something that we do have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I think that's where theater plays a part in our lives as a whole, is we learn that creativity. As much as it sucks to have to learn it this way, it is teaching us skills regardless of the resources. And I think that's one of my favorite things about theater. So, but I do need to go. I hope the rest of the podcast is well.
It was so great talking to you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you for having me, Christian.
Thank you, Grace. And definitely gonna have you in another one. I'll tell you about it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. And I do want to go off about the sports thing, because I did have somebody who was in sports as well that was going to come into, because when we learn about it, when I say entertainers, you think, musical theater, singing, dancing, but actually, I don't think what athletes don't know either is that they're entertainers themselves. That they are entertaining audiences upon audiences with their sports, and that they are technically, if you think about it, they are doing sports theater themselves because I know it's like weird because theater, if you think that like the basic definition of theater is putting emotion, physically, mentally, emotionally into something that you're passionate about on stage when you're talking, comedy, movie, TV shows. That's exactly what athletes are doing. If you understand that what everybody's doing theater in some shape or form, that's when we can understand that everybody is an entertainer themselves. That our mindset is different and it's the same at the same time. It's different and it's the same.
Mhm.
That we are literally, if we could learn to coexist with coexist with each other. There it is. Coexist with each other, except for fighting against each one another. Oh yes, I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
Okay, and because I want the goal of theater, like actually like musical theater or acting, is always to get well, for us at least in Millbrook, is to get a lot of guys. It's a struggle all the way around. Why? Because the fear. It's like if guys, sports athletes could figure out and understand that what they're doing right now is the exact same thing that guys in theater are doing, except on a different platform. You're both telling a story.
Yeah.
Some is just written for us, and some is live time. We're
Mhm.
both interacting with the audience. We're both make the audience feel something. Football, touchdowns. Basketball, make a basket. Baseball, hold on. I know sports. Baseball, home run. Hockey, swing a goal.
Okay.
Make a goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But is sports
Yeah.
not improvisation with some props?
Yes.
And I hate when guys are like, I don't want to look dumb. As if I'm so sorry. The idiocy that happens on the court is beyond me. They fall, they yell, they scream. Put on a nice costume, put some little eyeliner and blush, and come over to the theater.
Exactly.
Because we could use that.
Yeah. We need to, and this actually just goes for guys and girls. Honestly, it's anybody who does sports and be like, I don't know. There's always the main excuse is that I don't look stupid and I don't know. I'll look bad. Yeah, I'll look bad. I wasn't trained. Theater is literally the untrained trained thing. Theater, we put things as okay. Let's just put it in this aspect. We call every sports except for some sports, some people, but most athletes saying cheer's not a sport. It's literally a sport. Theater, yeah, we don't consider a sport, but it is a sport in a shape or form. Sport, the definition of a sport is to be a physically active in with something. Physically active. Cheer, physically active. Dance, physically active. Theater, emotionally, physically, mentally, Italy is active in everything. We're doing something to push our body to the limits, and then we're breaking that limit and making it a bigger limit. And make it that's exactly what we're doing. And that goes to my next question, actually, is that with all this entertainment, right, and all this grabbing and actually influencing people, is the entertainment industry a twin to politics?
I don't know if it's gonna be recorded, but I made a face.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, let's let that marinate. Is it a twin to politics? Think about everything that we're doing. When we say that theater is the root of everything, and the entertainment industry is always yeah. We as entertainers are always influencing our audience in some shape.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, yes, it's true. And okay, yeah. The issue right. Okay. And okay, the issue that I have come to have I've developed this weird feelings towards Broadway. You know what? You love it.
Yeah.
The Great White Way. The Great White Way. That's a different conversation. But the one thing that makes me very sad about theater is the fact that it is so, and I'm gonna get a little political. Theater has become so deeply entwined with capitalism to the point where for a show to be considered valuable, it has to be making profit.
Yeah.
And it's rigged this way at the Tonys. It's rigged this way when shows close and open. And I get it. You got to pay the rent for the theater. You got to pay the actors and the techies and the producers. They got to make their money back from what they invest.
Right.
But it makes me so disheartened when summer of 2019, The Prom closed on Broadway. An original story, an accepting story. But shows like Mean Girls were still open.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes me so sad that the value, like shows are no longer. I mean, I'll say Broadway is losing its heart.
Yeah.
And I wish we could bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely feel you on that one, because it does drive me nuts, because there's so many beautiful shows that have original storylines that show great values to pull these audiences, and they're not making the money that people wanted, you know? It's just, that's where it sucks, because there are so many beautiful stories that went on Broadway and got shut down very quickly because they stopped making money and the hype kind of blew over. And I think like shows like Mean Girls, I mean, shout out to those actors, like they're amazing, but Mean Girls and The Prom, you kind of, that's where it gets like and like my favorite musical on Broadway has been Anastasia, and from what I read, it got closed down because it wasn't making enough money. And it just pissed me off because the show was so beautiful and taught me a lot about myself. Like Journey to the Past, I sing that whenever I'm about to do an audition or something and I'm stressed. I just sing that because these shows teach you so many things, and then they go out because they aren't making enough money. And it sucks that the capitalism portions of Broadway is just like ruining these gorgeous stories people have worked. Like, I think about the actors who worked their butts off from the start of production to performing it, and then it gets cut short because they're
the number of shows
funds
that will close opening night.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I don't want to put a price tag on my talent, on anyone else's talent, on anyone's creation.
Yeah.
But we're being like brought up in an era where like, but can you make money? Which brings it back to Christian's thing, the stability question.
Yeah, I think this all like kind of wraps around.
I got it.
Okay, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I feel like the world does like kind of like what we were saying kind of earlier. They don't trust us enough.
Yeah.
They don't think like we can pull through and that we can create so many beautiful things, and then there are these popular shows and they're like, oh yeah, look at this, like, and then there's these gorgeous stories that, and like just thinking about shows closing opening night hurts so much to think about, because like from an acting standpoint, you work so hard to get there, and like directors work so hard to get to the position to direct. Choreographers, like you get there, you work hard, you get your shot, and it closes because it was like that
And even this, I don't know if the point of theater is for it to be like so strict. I think it's or maybe this is just me and my opinions and like beliefs on theater, but I believe in a much more human-like theater where mistakes are allowed to be made. Maybe it was a bad show, but it's okay. We tried it and we worked it out.
Right.
And that's okay. On to the next thing. I don't think it should be a pass or fail. And that's what it's becoming.
Okay. So I thought when I was creating these questions, I kept thinking something, and it's this phrase I probably took from somewhere. I don't know, but I thought of it. It could be from somebody said it. I can't remember. But I said that we learn from the past to prepare for the future. And with that, I think that is such a prominent, big word, prominent thing in theater or in the whole entertainment industry, that if we could really focus on that and understand that it's really, let's go Jessie J. It's not about the money and money and money.
We don't make the money, money. We just want to make the
world dance.
Oh my god.
I think if we could really actually really put that into existence, that to be a good show, to be a good comedian, to be a good artist, you don't need to be making $10-20 million in one night. To be a good artist is to impact the people that are listening and watching you. That makes a good artist. That's why, money is good and all. Pays your taxes, pays for a house that you want, your dream house. Yes, and that pays for the cars you want. Don't get me wrong, money is cool. But as an entertainer, for me personally, I want money. Yeah, I want money. But why do I want money? To increase the profit for other people, to increase their influence on others.
For sure.
I have dreamed of this for so long, to create a school that's called the development of humanity. It's literally a charter school, so people that don't can't pay for it, is that we could create our own education system without the government stuff and still have it. That we go from that, if you want to be for elementary school, it's the development, is dynasty development. We talk about generational wealth. How can you invest to make your money, but also you got to impact somebody else? Your goal is not to get A's, get your high SAT score. That really doesn't matter. It matters, I guess, for college, yes. But at the end of the day, can you truly say that you impacted somebody? Because all it takes is that one person. That's that one person that you need to keep going with. Keep going. That's why I said, is it twin to politics? Because politics are so influential, that if you really can say, I influenced one person to make a change, that you made a change, and another person, they can say, I was inspired by this and this to make a change. That should be your number one goal. Money could come second, third, fourth, fifth. It could be last place. If you can make a change, influence everybody that you see, that just by a look, by a kind gesture, by a movement, a dance movement, that they look at you and be like, a little kid, a little child, be like, I want to be like that when I'm older, not because of the money, but because of the impact that person has done to you. That is what needs to be. That's what needs to be in everything, politics and everything. That if we could figure out a way to freaking stand hand in hand, we really do. We need to say hand in hand, sing kumbaya, get all stuff together, and actually understand that we are not trying to fight each other, but we need to influence other people to actually push to change the system of injustice and sexism, all this stuff like that, because that we are the creations. We are the creations of everything. Entertainers, we are the main focus of everything. If you do something, people will follow. You see, look, I'm gonna name Beyonce, right there. Just name her out right
Yep.
there. People follow her. Why? Not because, yes, she could sing. Yes, all this stuff. She dances. Cool. But why did people continue with her after Destiny Child? Because she had a message.
Mm.
She has something to say. Look, Lemonade, her album Lemonade, literally spoke up in.
I was like,
Her album Lemonade
about
spoke up spoke of all the injustice. We got other people. We got other artists speaking of injustice. Chloe and Halle. We got Victoria Monet. Even Ariana Grande. It is not a race. You don't have to be a certain race to impact the world. You just need to be able to put your race and be like, okay, if you are black, to say, okay, I'm black and I can do this. If you're white, be like, okay, I know that the past is stuff, but I want to detach myself, be like, okay, I see that I do have some privilege, but how can I change it and make other people see that themselves? We all need to
and to
focus
use
on
what
stuff.
you have for good already.
Yeah, use what you have for good. It's really not. I don't understand how people like you, and I'm not gonna. It's not even white people, honestly, because it could be black, it could be Middle Eastern, Asian, Hispanic. That they use what they have. They use their privilege or benefits, let's say, more or less, for evil. If you could say, because then, and people will follow. I guarantee there's gonna be at least one person that's gonna look at you and be like, "You're my idol. I'm following you." And if you cannot fix your act together, be like, "Okay, I know that at least somebody, anybody, I don't know their name. I never seen the face, but somebody's looking at me and be like, okay, they're going to follow me. Now, how do I want them to have somebody else follow them? It's going to be a continuation. So then it goes to my last question. What needs to change in the entertainment industry and what needs to stay the same?
I mean, I think a lot personally needs to change in the entertainment industry. Kind of like starting off from what we were saying before about like the mistakes and that stigma kind of ordeal, that it sucks because you believe that you can't make a mistake in theater. But this is live theater.
Yeah.
You make mistakes. You learn. Like whenever I just think when you're like leading a group of people per se, it's all about learning. You'll make mistakes along the way. That's life in general. And it sucks because you're trained in a sense. Like you're kind of forced to think, I can't make a mistake. I can't mess up this audition. Like especially in auditions, you think if you mess up, you're cut and that's it. And I hate because I walk into auditions and I'm like, I'm freaking out, not because I'm performing for the directors and stuff. I'm more nervous I'm gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is holding me back more than anything. I think I would have auditioned for way more things in my life if I wasn't so afraid I was going to make a mistake and that's it. And I think that's something that really needs to change, in my opinion. There's so many other things like I think representation more than anything needs to be more prominent because it
Skylar, I want you to say what we've been talking about a lot. Skylar and I have been talking because imagine Elikya, listen, because I think you want to hop on this too. Is the Prince of Egypt a classic story? But I've seen like bootlegs or tried some parts, listen to music, and it's really good. But it's in London. London's already forming their representation, right?
Yeah.
That you could see London actually working for something. It's a freaking USA that just don't feel like they don't give two poops. Two doodles. You know what I was really trying to say, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. It's definitely annoying because like we were kind of talking and we're like, okay, imagine us having an actual cast that represents the cultures, getting people to like, if we were to, let's say, direct the show together, like we would want someone who can help us choreograph actual Hebrew dances, because that's a huge undertone of the show, of having like all these, the Hebrew culture. And that's something I want, if I were like, let's say, to direct it, you want to push that out there and want like the audience to see that. And we would want a cast to also represent that, and not like miscast, you want, like, I would want an actual like Egyptian person to play like Ramesses, and then like an actual Hebrew person to play Moses, because that's what the story is about. And I think not have like, especially on Broadway, like from shows I've seen, I don't see a lot of representation, and that it pisses me off, because there's so many amazing people who aren't getting the same chances, and it pisses me off more than anything.
I mean, it's not like we're not out here. I think another issue with representation is the fact that like theater is so expensive to train. You have to take voice lessons and acting lessons and dance lessons, and like Christian and I go to the conservatory, and it's a pretty penny, I must say.
No, it is a pretty penny.
But like, it's not, and until we make education accessible first, then that will be the key to opening more doors, to get more people involved, who then can create their own work. I mean, and like I was saying earlier, I don't want to be brought up to the same level in that system. I would much rather step outside and create something better. That and I think that is what my answer to your original question would be, like, what should stay the same. I think the original fundamentals of theater, storytelling, obviously needs to stay the same. Everything else about it got to go. It's got to go.
I agree.
It definitely, I think like what we were taught as like when we were starting out in theater, like that can stay, like the storytelling and the improv, like just like acting 101.
Just go up there and fill in the blank. I don't know. I kind of like forgot to talk after.
No, you're totally fine. Like just kind of being yourself, but also understanding these characters you're playing. It's so complicated. Like that's where it just gets so complicated. Once you get those fundamentals, that's where everything starts to just. It's not pretty. It really isn't.
And because trying to keep it under an hour. So let me close. I'm gonna say this one. I'm gonna say this thing is also about representation. That I think the just minority community does sometimes get a little petty about. I'm gonna say is that when a white person does try to put representation and like put a full representation thing, then they get mad because it's a white director. We got to get what we get right now.
I feel like when that happens, it's often done the wrong way.
Well,
is what the issue is.
Right. There are, but I'm sorry, there are some that actually like wholeheartedly want to like do it the right. Like they're trying. They're really trying because they see it. Because when you see something and you actually want, that's what we need. We need to take out people that's doing the wrong way and find people, because there are people that really want to try this and actually do it the right way. But I don't think we should be hating on them for trying to do something and trying to change the narrative.
I think it's about establishing more trust. Intersectionally, because I feel like that anger comes from a place of wariness and having been wronged before, especially in the arts world.
Definitely.
So I think once, if the intentions are pure, then it'll be easier to cross that boundary. But I mean, even I would be, a little bit nervous. Like, are they going to make me do something that'll make me uncomfortable?
Right.
And I think once that trust is earned, then I'm all for it. It's got to be earned, though.
I definitely agree with that. Like, for sure.
All right. So I want to say thank you guys. I'm going to try to rush, but thank you guys. Thank you, Elikya and Skylar, for this amazing conversation. Thank you for the energy. Also, Grace is still not here. Grace not here, but thank you, Grace, too.
Yes.
I want to say, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, so before I leave, though, it's an hour. Gonna be an hour and like 2 minutes. Yeah, I'll be fine. What it is I give them a goal for each of these podcasts, and I give them the goal like the last minute. So this is like me thinking on top of my head because of what the conversation was. And I want to say my first goal is don't underestimate your talent. Your talent is don't say even the tiniest things is somewhat of an entertaining thing. There's something that's entertaining. So don't underestimate your talent. Number 2 is help people that struggle. Help them. If you know somebody, have connections if you can, and if they need to work for it, 9 out of 10 they will, because if you're passionate about something, you're going to work for it no matter what. You might don't have to get a job to pay for it, but you're definitely going to work for it. So help those creative people, those entertainers that struggling, that don't know what to look for. But if you know where to go, look for it. Lead them, guide them along the way. That's number 2. I'm trying to go fast. I want to say thank you, everybody, my watchers on YouTube. Thank you for everybody on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. It has been uploaded to Google Podcasts. Hey! Also for my YouTubers, thank you. I looked today while I was going, and apparently we have 15 subscribers. I did not know that. So thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. If you have, thank you. Don't forget to hit the bell for all my recent stuff. And I'm about to tell you now the next 5 episodes real quick. But before I do that, Skylar, Elikya, do you want to put your say your Instagram if you feel comfortable?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Elikya, did you want to go first?
I feel like the most interesting part of me is just theater in color. So all of our handles are theater spelled with an R-E in color NC. That's our Instagram and our Facebook, and then that's our website.org. So check us out. We'd love to read with you and stuff.
Yes. Then I'm just Broadway Cat 16. Yes. Also, I own a little theater company and a video game. We're DCTP Productions.
Period.
Yeah, we do theater, trying to bring back theater any way we can. So yeah.
I was so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all the next 5 episodes. Elikya, Skylar, hopefully you can stay on. Hopefully, stay on. That's what I'm telling y'all. Okay. So our next episode, I'm putting very forward because of the prominent times that's happening. It's the next episode. The next episode is called "The United States versus the Asian Community." I'm very excited for how it's gonna be a hard topic to hit, especially for all stuff that's happening. I can't wait. The second episode is the intuition of a woman, and then I think that speaks for itself. But also, I want to hit on something for the next episode. After that, it's called the intellect of a man. I think we both need 2 sides, because we really need to tackle some of that stuff, because we hear everything, but I really want to hear both sides' opinion, and this is gonna be separate though. But I got this. Here you go. So, anyways, I'm gonna tell you a little bit. So that's 3. The 4th episode, if I could make sure I'm saying it right. Oh, yeah, the 4th episode is about climate change. We need to hit something. Talk about that. It's called the Gen Z look on climate change. That's what it's called. IDK Gen Z look on climate change. And then our last episode, which is going to be June 11th, is called IDK. What the heck are we doing? It's going to consist of male and female, and we're going to go back with everything. Put that all together. It's going to be a big special episode, and I don't think it's actually going to be a StreamYard because I only can put 10 people on this. It's going to be a lot. So I think that one is going to be live. It's going to be live. So I just get ready for that one. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but get ready for that. IDK, what the heck are we doing? I can't wait for that one. So those are the 5 extra episodes. I can't wait. And I want to say thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, YouTubers, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And for my listeners on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, don't forget to put that 5 stars in the comment on there. Also, follow me at IDK with Christian. And if you feel obligated to donate, if you feel any donations in your heart, my donation for Cash App is in the bio. Instagram. Just saying, because a man needs help. A man needs help. But yes, I want to say thank you, everybody. And I'm excited for everything that's going to happen. I'm about to play my exit music and have a nice day.